Hi, Fanbase Recapped. Today I'm going to recap a sci-fi action movie called Elysium from 2013. Hang on, and sit tight. The movie began in a futuristic world. The Earth is overpopulated, diseased, and polluted. Two classes of people exist. The very wealthy, who live on a pristine, man-made orbiting space station, just outside the atmosphere called Elysium. And the rest of the humans, who live on an overpopulated and ruined Earth, where the surrounding area is now a vast desert and people live in nothing more than small shack and old buildings. Citizens of Elysium don't suffer from problems such as disease, hunger, or general strife. They live a very peaceful existence. With a med bay that can heal all types of diseases, and robots that attend to their every need, while citizens on Earth are policed by ruthless robots. A young Max, who appears to live in an orphanage, in the ruins of Los Angeles, is introduced to Frey. The two become pals, and Max made a promise to take her to Elysium someday. Frey takes a pen and marks on Max's hand. She inscribes a circle and the letters of their initials MF, forever. In the future, Max is a former car thief, and a parolee trying to seek out a meager existence. He is seen with numerous tattoos and wearing a GPS monitor, is preparing to take a bus to work. While in the bus station, advanced droid police recognizes Max as an ex-convict, and when asked what he's carrying in his pack, Max answers with a sarcastic tone. They ripped off his backpack, then hit him twice, breaking his wrist. They ordered him to go see his parole officer and thanks him before leaving. Max goes to the hospital to get his arm treated, but was surprised to see Frey, who's now working as a nurse. He asks her to a coffee date, but she declines at first, and after persuading her, she finally agrees. Max left to meet with his parole officer, as ordered by the droid police, and while having a conversation with it, the officer detects attitude, and it doesn't like Max's, so his parole is extended. The robot then offers Max a pill to help calm his elevated heart rate, but he simply declines. Max finally heads to work. He works at an assembly line for Armadyne Corp. This company supplies Elysian weaponry, as well as droid police on Earth. Max receives reprimands from his supervisor, and he docks him half a day's pay for being late. Next, we see Spider, a hacker and leader of an illegal immigration operation, as he prepares 3 shuttle flights to smuggle people into Elysium, so they could use their medbays. Some citizens were able to raise money which they used to acquire Elysium identification brands on their wrists. After hacking the shuttle entry codes, the citizens board into 3 dilapidated shuttles, which takes off and fly towards Elysium. In Elysium, the Secretary of Defense, Delacourt, is going about her regular routine. Then she's told that 3 undocumented shuttles are headed for their habitat. After the standard warning procedures, she overrides an executive order and activated a sleeper agent, Kruger. On Earth, Kruger gets a missile launcher and fires 4 rockets towards the shuttles. The rockets pursue the targets and is able to destroy 2 targets, killing 46 total people on board. 1 shuttle was able to evade the last missile and land successfully on Elysium, but inbound helicopters chased and tranquilized the occupants. A mother and her child, who were on the shuttle that landed, rushed into a house and finds a med bay. The girl's wrist is scanned, and she is identified as an Elysium citizen. The machine then assesses her physical condition, and begins repairing her broken bones. The 2 were soon apprehended, along with the arrested illegal immigrants, and are being deported back to Earth. Later, Max's friend, Julio, tries to interest him about a job and begs him to come work as a car thief, but he refuses, wanting to complete his parole and become a better citizen. The next day at work, a pallet jams the door to the firing unit of the robots, thus holding up production, and his supervisor urges Max to go in and fix it, or he'll replace him with someone who will. Max has no other choice but to oblige, and when he does, the door slams shut and the unit powers on, giving Max a lethal dose of radiation. A while later, Max is dragged out of the unit and taken to medicals, where he is told by another droid that he'll die in 5 days due to catastrophic organ failure. The droid gives Max some pills to keep him functioning properly until his death. Armadyne CEO, John Carlyle, goes down to the production floor to examine what halted production. He sees Max lying on a bed in the infirmary, and orders that Max be taken away, so he won't mess up the bedding. In Elysium, President Patel summons Defense Secretary Delacourt. She was reprimanded for ordering the deaths of the illegals, and for using a sleeper agent, Kruger, to do it. The president threatens to fire her as she screws up again. They all voted for the immediate discharge of Agent Kruger from office. When Kruger learns that he won't be of service anymore, he is infuriated and feels betrayed. Max, returning from the infirmary, could barely walk. Julio sees him and rushes to help. After taking some pills, Max tells Julio that he wants to go see Spider, the rebel behind the illegal transports to Elysium, about getting to Elysium as he is in desperate need of a med bay to heal himself. The scene shows Frey and her daughter, Matilda, who experiences seizures and is diagnosed with leukemia. Frey had been taking care of her daughter at work, but is ordered to leave her at home because the doctors aren't able to give her treatment anymore. Max and Julio got to see Spider in his high-tech rebel command center, where Max asks Spider for an identification brand and a ticket to Elysium, promising to come back and work for him. Spider declines, but after telling Spider that he did 3 years in prison for him and that he is really dying, Spider decides to make Max an offer. He should plug into the brain of an Elysium billionaire to extract organic information, which includes bank codes, passwords and login data. And after verifying the data, he'd make sure Max gets to Elysium and use a med bay. Spider notices that Max is physically weak for the job, so they attach a third-generation exoskeleton to Max's nervous system and the data collection device to his brain. The exoskeleton gives Max the strength of a droid. Max stated his terms being that the billionaire Mark will be Armadine CEO, John Carlyle. And he's taking Julio to Elysium. Delacorte has a secret conversation with Carlyle to create a program that will reboot Elysium's computer core to give her presidency, and Carlyle will benefit from this contract for the next 200 years, providing services to the habitat of Elysium. Carlyle writes a code called Saber Cerebral Defense, encrypts it to his brain and adds a denial security system that should be lethal to anyone attempting to download and use the program. He boards a shuttle for a flight to Elysium. Max, Julio and a team of Spider's men arm themselves with high-powered rifles and make use of 2 fast armored vehicles. They intercepted Carlyle transport by shooting an explosive device at the shuttle. This knocks out one of the engines, forcing the shuttle to crash land. Desperate, Delacorte calls Kruger as soon as she's informed that Carlyle's shuttle has gone down. Kruger demands that he be reinstated if he decides to go rescue Carlyle. Delacorte agrees, then arranges for 2 of Kruger's favorite associates to pick him up. Max and his men arrive at Carlyle's shuttle and are confronted by one of 2 droids who were on the shuttle with Carlyle and engaged in combat. After a difficult fight, Max destroys one droid. One of the men then uses a device to cut through the hull of Carlyle's shuttle and provide access to him. However, the second droid exits on the opposite side and comes around to confront Max and the others. Max and the others exchange fire with the droid. One of the men mistakenly shoots Carlyle in the chest. Max then engages the droid in hand-to-hand combat, finally tearing its head off. They quickly establish a cyber-neural connection between Max and the dying Carlyle, but the computer expert can't read the encryption. As they are out of time, Kruger and his associates arrives, taking down Max's men one by one. Kruger lands his shuttle, gets out and attacks Max, stabbing him. Spider is frustrated. Kruger is about to decapitate Max when Julio shoots Kruger in the neck. Kruger mercilessly runs his sword through Julio. Max recovers and shoots at Kruger, but Kruger uses a force field to avoid being killed. On Elysium, Delacorte orders that Max be captured but that his brain be left undamaged. An injured Max escapes with a copy of the reboot program, while Carlyle's death destroys any possibility of further retrieval from his brain. Kruger and his men use sophisticated tracking system, but to no avail, as Max hides under a cart filled with pigs, thus helping him evade detection. Kruger still deploys additional search method around the city. Max seeks help from his childhood friend, Frey. While she was patching him up, she notices an Elysium citizenship brand on Max's arm, so she tells Max that Frey has leukemia and needs his help to get her up to Elysium. But Max tells her it's too dangerous, and he can't do it. While leaving her apartment, one of the search discs finds Max, but he quickly takes it down. But Kruger has already seen Max, so they traveled to Frey's place, demanding to know where Max is. They take Frey and Matilda up to their shuttle as leverage. Max goes to see Spider and demands he fly him to Elysium immediately. Spider couldn't because there's a no-fly zone in effect, so he connects to Max's head and figures it's a reboot sequence for Elysium, which is of great value. Since Spider couldn't help the dying Max, he plants a tracker on Max without his knowledge. Max decides to trade his data to get cured in Elysium by contacting Kruger. He pulls out a grenade pin, and he negotiated to be taken to Elysium, else he'll blow out the sensitive data from his brain. So he is invited on board the shuttle, where Max is surprised to see Frey and Matilda. While they're on their way up to Elysium, Kruger made some advances on Frey, and when Max tells him to back off, he lunges and grabs the grenade in Max's hand. The two struggles and the grenade rolls free, blowing up part the ship with Kruger's face. The shuttle crash lands on Elysium soil. Max, After freeing Frey, who is trapped in the shuttle seat, has to fight with one of the bad guys on the shuttle. Frey gets Matilda and carries her into a mansion to heal her as security forces arrive. Frey places Matilda in a healing bed inside the mansion, but because Matilda isn't a citizen, the med bay won't work. Kruger's goon arrives and tasers Frey. Max ends up getting tasered as well. Delacourt relieves President Patel from duty, saying the intruder have committed an act of war, which leaves her in charge. She wants the data extracted from Max's head, which her expert tells her will kill Max, and she's okay with that. Spider takes advantage of the situation and arrives at Elysium without being noticed by any human. He immediately heads for where his tracking device indicates Max is. Kruger's goons take Frey and Matilda away. They put Kruger in a med bay, completely reconstructing his face. He then wakes up. He survived only because his brain had not been damaged by the grenade explosion. Max breaks loose from his bonds and disables the two lab techs and forces one of them to tell him where Frey and Matilda had been taken. Delacourt approaches Kruger, criticizing him for stupidly crashing the shuttle in a suburban area. He angrily smashes the mirror, picks up a piece and jams it into Delacourt's throat. She goes down, bleeding badly. Kruger throws Delacourt into the room with Frey and Matilda, and tells Frey that he is going to make sure her daughter is never healed. Kruger intends to use the reboot sequence in Max's head to reprogram Elysium and make himself president. Kruger's goons start roaming around tossing grenades to take out Elysium's command and control structure. Max saw Spider on the monitors and calls him. They make their immediate plans. Max then heads for the armory and takes the last of his pain pills. Kruger puts on a military-grade exoskeleton, far superior to Max's droid suit, then orders his goon to kill Frey and Matilda. Before he could hurt them, Max gets there first and uses his superhuman strength to crush him. The second goon comes in shooting, and Max grabs an automatic weapon and kills him. Max sends Frey to the surface with Matilda, telling her to get a med bay, promising her that it will work this time. Max teams up with Spider, reminding Spider that they have a deal only if Frey gets her daughter to a med bay. Spider sends one of his men to help Frey. Kruger intercepts Max and blows up one of Spider's men, and he goes after Max with his sword. Max and Kruger engage in hand-to-hand combat. Max is losing the fight when he suddenly executes a body flip and disengages Kruger's exoskeleton power source on the way down. Kruger manages to clip Max to a railing and then pulls the pin on a grenade, intending to blow them both up. But Max disengaged himself loose and flips both Kruger and the grenade over the railing. Kruger explodes in midair. Spider connects a cable to the port in Max's head at the same instant that Frey flips the switch on a med bay containing Matilda. Spider realizes that the data extracting will kill Max if he downloads it. Max confirms, but first he connects to Frey and says his goodbyes to her before initiating download. Just then President Patel arrives with security to arrest Spider. The Elysium reboot takes place and everyone on Earth becomes a citizen. The droids are reconfigured, and they release Spider as they consider him and everyone on Earth a citizen of Elysium. The movie ends as Max dies, Spider is released, Matilda is healed, and numerous medical shuttles loaded with med bays are dispatched to Earth to begin healing everyone that needs help. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.